Turn to page 384. There shall be showers of blessings, first and last. There shall be showers of blessing. This is the promise of love. There shall be seasons refreshing, sent from the Savior above. Showers of blessing, showers of blessings we need. Mercy drops round us are falling. There shall be showers of blessing. Oh, that today they might fall. Now as to God we're confessing. Now as on Jesus we call. Showers of blessing. Showers of blessings we need. Mercy drops round us are falling. Y'all may be seated. Good morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning.
It's good to be back here. It's been a while, as well known. So, the nerds are back, of course. Never feeling good. But it's not about me, it's about the Lord. It's about pleasing the Lord. It's not about how I feel. It's about pleasing the Lord, but making Him feel good. So if you have your Bibles, I'd like for you to be turning to Genesis. Genesis chapter 2. We'll start reading in about verse 16. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayst freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. And the Lord God said, It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him and help meet for him. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to all fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an help meet for him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the fresh instant thereof. And the rib which the Lord had taken from man made he woman, and brought her unto the man. Now see, I'm reading through these verses, and I'm looking and I'm thinking all of these great things that the Lord's doing. He's making the animals out of nothing. He's telling Adam, and you get to name them, and then that's whatever they're going to be from now on. Now that would be really cool to be able to name all the animals that have been made from nothing. But I realize it's also a great responsibility because all that is going to be how it's going to be for forever. So you have to have it's a great responsibility there. Verse 23. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken as man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Now, this serpent is the devil, and saying that they should be as gods. You know, he's trying to trick them into saying, you can be better than everybody else. You can be better than them if you do what God says not do. It'll turn out to be in your way, in your favor, instead of in his favor. Right. He's trying to trick them and saying, yeah, just do this. You know, I know something that you don't know, even though you already know it. You think, if I can trick you, then you'll be all right. But I know you're still going to die anyway. That's the devil's whole plan. Verse 6, And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and then it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat. And gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. You see, now they see that they are naked, and they're understanding that, I guess it would be wrong, you know. But before that, before they had the knowledge of good and evil, they didn't, because they didn't know any better. All they knew was serving God is the right thing to do, anything else is the wrong thing to do. But now they know everything, the good and the evil. So now they know that what's wrong and what's right, and that's what God didn't want them to do. Verse 8, And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called to Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard the voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou should not, or shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Now, whenever she said, The serpent beguiled me, she's saying the serpent tricked me. The serpent, made me think that I was doing right whenever I was doing wrong. He tricked me into doing something that I shouldn't have done, using that as an excuse. Verse 14, And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. He shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy consultation. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and thou hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat of the herb of the field. In the sweet of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Unto Adam also and to his wife did the Lord God make coats of skin, and clothed them. And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil, and now, lest he put forth his hand, and take also the tree of life, and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden, to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed him at the east at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned way of the tree of life. So reading through these, through these verses, there's a lot of different stuff happening. It's one type of subject, but it's a lot of different stuff happening in that one subject. So at the beginning, we see here that, God made Adam and Eve, and they were perfect. They were both perfect. Nothing was wrong with them. They were supposed to live on to a happy life, but then the serpent came and messed it all up. The serpent came and messed it all up. He tricked Eve into eating the tree, and then Eve tricked Adam into eating the tree. So then things mess up, and then they try to make things right with God, but then they can't because they just disobeyed God. And, sorry doesn't cut it at those times. So they have to go down, and now they have to live their whole life feeling all this sorrow and all this, hatred. And, God still loves them, and they can still get right with God. They know that. So that is their goal from now on, since they did wrong. And you see, a lot of times, when you think, well, getting saved is really hard and all this, because, back then, they had to look towards the cross. They didn't look back at the cross, they had to look towards the cross. They had to believe that it was going to happen, not know that it happened, and believe that God is going to save us, but they had to look towards it, and they had to believe it was going to happen, not did happen. You see, because when the Lord died, that was a whole different, it was a complete changing of the ways things work, because people realize now He just died for all of us. So, there's a lot of different things and a lot of different subjects in here, and a lot of different kind of verses that can go on different kind of categories and subjects, but the real thing that we need to keep in our minds now is, what should we do for God? What would happen? What would be best for God? And that's what we need to look towards now. Okay, birthdays, what anniversaries? I'm going to sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Only one will God do. For the gift means salvation. How many have you? Amen. You may be dismissed your Sunday school class.
It's good to be in the house of God. Amen. It's good to have the opportunity to study His Word. Thank God for it. I didn't know there was going to be this few here this morning. I sort of suspected that not everybody that should be here would show up. But anyway, the Lord gave me a title for this message, and I didn't know whether I should teach it or not. But God put it on my heart. Thank God for His inspiration. The title He gave me was, "Can someone be saved and not attend church?" That's a good question. That's probably a question that we've all asked ourselves or asked somebody else at one time or another, seeing how sometimes people are not real faithful and not real sold out. Hebrews 10 and verse 25 says, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another,